Hello students, welcome you all. So already we started the lesson. The name, what is that? The classic world, actually, classical world. Already we started the lesson. So we are reading about the European countries, especially about the Greece. We are reading actually. So what is the democracy in Hellenic Greece? Up to that we seen. Now we're going to see about the Athenian democracy. Athens. Athens is a place. So there, how the democracy they follow. Actually, there in Athens, they are all preparing any law means the law making power in Athens was vested in an assembly open all free men actually. So they will ask suggestions from the people and only they will implement that particular law. This arrangement was wrested by the upper classes who considered democracy to the rule of the mob actually. But this methodology was not likened by not liked by some of the rich people who were all become rich by doing the trade actually. They told the peoples are of the mob actually, rule of the mob. Okay, it's a word against that particular freemen's. The Persian danger had united the Greeks. When this danger was removed, what is it? The Persian War was happened. No, at that time the peoples are united actually. But after that, again they started to quarreling. This history of many great Greek city states was one of the continued struggles by rich landowners against a democracy. The only exception was Athens, where democracy survived for about 200 years. So, remaining all the Greek states are quarreled each other, but Athens alone followed the democracy and survived near to 200 years. So, up to that we seen in last class. Now we are going to talk the Pericles. Athens had a great leader, Pericles, who he had power after 30 years. During his rule, Athens and Sparta were continuously at war with each other. So, Pericles is when he was a king, the war was continuously between Athens and Sparta. Continuous war. This war was known as a Peloponnesian. What is that? Peloponnesian war. Athens, despite hostility and disputes from the Sparta, became a noble city with a magnificent building. But war was one side it's happening, but whatever it may be, Athens having a growth actually, magnificent building they built it. They were a great artists and a great thinkers. Historians therefore call this age of Pericles. Okay, at the time war also happened. At the same time, the country, that particular kingdom developed more by magnificent building and great artists and great thinkers also they developed in the Athens. The Athens government after Pericles did not like Socrates. After the Pericles, the kings did not like the Socrates way of finding the truth. What is the truth means in trial? Socrates was accused of refusing to accept the God recognized by the state and corrupting the youth actually. What is that? He was spreading the news about then what is that? The refusing to accept the God recognized with the state and corrupting the youth. He giving the messages to the youth there is no God and what is that? Some important points about against the government. That's the thing. He is spreading the points to the people against the government. Because of that, he was arrested and he was sentenced to die to drink a hemlock. Hemlock means poison. So it was happening after the Pericles. Okay. So that's it about the Greeks. So we seen about the Greeks. Persians war was happened between the Persians and the Greeks, and about the democracy we seen, about the Athens country we seen, about the Pericles, very important king I think so. So only they given this king. Now we are going to see about the Rome, beginnings of the Hellenistic civilization. And what is that? In the Greek was will be Hellenic. This Rome was will be called as a Hellenistic. Okay. The Greek city-states did not have an elaborate bureaucracy. They were therefore able to show a greater dynamism. Under Alexander the Great, the Greeks were able to establish the kingdom in Macedonia. The kingdom succeeded in annexing two historic empires of Egypt and the Middle East. But the entire period Alexander region was spent on the wars actually. What happened means they have the great dynamism. They have the good administration. Under Alexander the Great, the Greeks were able to establish the kingdom in Macedonia. So there they started their kingdom actually. Their kingdom succeeded in annexing two historic empires. What are the two historic empires? Egypt and the Middle East. But whatever the administration they are doing good also, they failed to annexed joined the two important empires, which are all that means Egypt and the Middle East. But the entire period of the why means the entire period of the Alexander was went in war itself. So they not concentrating the administration. That's a problem. Some of the information. Culture development that took place rapidly after Alexander's death 323 is called the Hellenistic civilization. After the Alexander death only, they developed more. That time will be, that period will be called as a Hellenistic civilization. In which period? 323 BC. The Greek school of science, mathematics and philosophy reached peak in the Greek Egyptian city of Alexandria. Euclid, who formed the basic theorem of the geometry, Eratosthenes, who accurately calculated the diameter of the earth, the Hipparchus, the founder of trigonometry, were all products of the just a minute. Yeah, we came. All products of the age actually. What else may be, they can find by the way of trigonometry, we can find the solution. And Ptolemy built in Hippocrates' ideas and later developed a model of motion of the planets and the stars. So these are all the very familiar scientists. By these people only we are getting so much of the data. Based on that only the researchers are going nowadays also. Okay, who are all the very important person? Euclid, Eratosthenes, Hippocrates and the Ptolemy. Roman Republic. In the beginning of the Rome was the society of the agriculture organized through the lineages. Out of this developed hereditary ruling class, Roman people were divided into two classes: patricians, rich landowners, and plebeians, the common citizen. So whatever it may be, the administration good also. Between the people, it was the segregation was happened. The peoples are divided into two. One is patricians and plebeians. Patricians are rich landowners. Plebeians are common citizens. Rome was strictly located in the crisscrossing trade routes, cutting north, south, and east, west. Taxes on passing traders added the revenue derived from the agriculture. By the 6th century BC, Rome developed into the prosperous town. So, who are all the business people crossing their country? They started to collect the tax. For what? For their development, they started to collect the taxes. Okay. The war was happened between the patricians and the plebeians. The prisoners' war were enslaved in Rome. Thus, the Rome produced a new labor force for the rich to exploit. Big landowners brought slaves cheaply and used them cultivate the estates. Slave population grew in the first century. So what is that? The prisoners were being enslaved in Rome. Okay, then they used as a slave actually. The Rome produced a new labor force for the rich exploit. The big landowners have brought their slaves cheaply and used them for cultivate their estates actually. So the rich people started to buy the slaves actually for what? For doing the agriculture in their lands. The slave population grew by 1st century BC. There were 2 million slaves. So like that, it was at the time of 1st century, the slave was become near to 2 million. When the total strength of the free population was 3.25 million, slave labor led to the improvement of the free labor. Many poor patients had abandoned their children, who also ended up in slave markets. The conflict between the The conflict between the Philippines and Pakistan become bloodier. So the slaves was increased. The rich people are used the people as a slave. Even the parent are leaving the children and they become as a slave. So like that, finally the war was happened. The bloodier was happened between the only war, Philippines and the patricians. The major source of the revenue Roman state was slave trade only. By the slave trade only, they are getting earning more. The island of the Delos became a great slave market. So which island was become as a great slave market means Delos. Typrus Gaseous and Garius II Gaseous. Though partitions, those people, two people are patricians, landowners, but they given a voice to the poor people. As the patients supported the program, the senators, the higher people, shocked by its development, murdered both of them. So the senator shocked because of their questionnaires. So finally, the two members was killed actually. The martyrdom of the Garcius brother played a decisive role in the transformation of the Roman Republic into the Roman Empire. But after that, Garcius brother given a importance for the uh, growth of the Roman and transformation of the Roman Republic into the Roman Empire. No, Roman Republic was become as a Roman Empire. For that, very big contribution was given by Martyrdom. Who is that mean? He is a brother of Garcius. Okay, transfer of the power from a consuls to the emperor. Consuls means what? Higher people, but it's not a thing. Some group of people will be there. By the way of only, by the way of that peoples only, they will get the decisions and everything. People will get decisions and they will do everything. But that was changed into emperor, kings. The Marius become consul with the support of equities, new rich or proprietor classes from the rank of senatorial class. The Mauritius become consumed with the support of equities. Okay, the new riches of proprietor class below the rank of senatorial class. So when the Marius become the becoming one of the Senate member, he tried to pass the land distribution bill in the Senate. The leader to violence. What is that? To stop the violence. The allies of the Marius were killed. So finally, Marius also was killed actually. This resulted in a civil war was between the followers of Marius and the Sulla. Sulla also one of the Senate member. After explaining the Marius Sulla regained for 3 years the virtual dictator, he was killed and succeeded by the Chinna and the Catilina. Marius Sulla regained for 3 years and the virtual dictator, he was killed and succeeded by the Chinna and the Catilina. So Marius Sulla also was killed actually. Slave revolt, some of the information is there. There were more slaves revolt in Rome than in Greece. The revolt of Spartacus was the most famous. It began in 73 BC, involving about 70,000 slaves. The revolt threatened the power in Rome. Ultimately, Spartacus were killed and revolt crushed. 6,000 of the followers of Spartacus were executed. What is that? So, slave revolt was happened in Rome than in the Greece. The revolt Spartacus were most famous. Spartacus, they are all very famous. It began in 73 BC, involving about 70,000 slaves. How many slaves? 70,000 slaves actually they involved. The revolt threatened the power in Rome. That revolt was given some of threatened to the Rome itself. Ultimately, Spartans were killed and revolt crushed actually. But finally, what is that? That all the Spartans was killed finally. So, because of the revolt was crushed actually. Crushed means what? Stopped, suppressed. Okay. Next one. Establishment of the Principate. The civil wars were social issues ended only to be replaced with the civil wars between the generals. Okay. So the civil war was happening. Some of the generals was supporting the poor people. Some general was not supporting the poor people. They are all supporting the rich people. So like that, Marius and Cinna against the Sulla, Pompey against Julius Caesar. After Caesar death, Brutus and the Cassius against Mark Antony, and Actavian, and finally Actavian against the Mark Antony. Like that, between the generals itself, so much of the controversy, problems was happened. The rich, old, and new alike felt the allowing Actavian, now called the Augustus. Okay, the rich, old, and new alike felt to allowing the Actavian, now called the Augustus. Actavian will be called as Augustus, to establish to de facto monarchy was the only way to re-establish the political stability. The period starting from the Augustus is known as the Principate. Augustus called himself as the Imperator, equivalent to the English word emperor. So in year 27 BC. So finally, who was become a standard general means Augustus. In which BC in which period means 27 BC. Okay, so remaining things about the society and principate, about the Hannibal, we can see in next class. Okay, so understand it, finish your work on time, stay safe, stay home. Thank you.